Okay.
Harris and Jack are sharing one microphone, so they're currently like one head melded together.
Oh, shit.
It's okay. We found out that we have more or less the same opinion, so it doesn't matter.
Oh,
We'll
okay.
just-
I feel like I'm being victimized.
Yeah,
now.
so now you're on the
If
other
I have a
side.
different opinion, I'm just going to be like slapped in the face. What were we reviewing?
Oh, sorry. Yeah, we didn't say that, did we? So we're reviewing The Hunger Games Mockingjay Part 2.
The finale, the final Hunger Games film, supposedly.
Stop
Stop
say
saying that.
Would you see it as
Take
a
their
fitting
word
ending?
for it.
Would you see it as a fitting ending, basically?
No.
No.
Okay.
Would you see it as a fitting ending?
Yes.
I would say yes.
Really? Even that very
That's
end?
2-1.
Even that very end?
Yeah.
Missing ending.
Yeah.
That
but
end is
in
a
fact-
total mess.
Genuinely, when
Anyway,
we left,
right, well-
Jack's first thing to say was like, I thought that was a really good ending. So
Okay,
that's
well,
the tone of this
We'll
review.
focus on the film as a whole, but as an ending to the series, two of us think it's appropriate.
I mean,
one of us
it
thinks-
is an ending, but I just think it's very messy and it's
What do you mean? Oh, we can't.
Oh, no,
It's
no,
a spoiler,
right.
isn't
the
it?
Okay,
final act of
the
the film
film-
is a total mess.
the film as a whole. I would say that it's quite. I'd say that I found it to be the best film of the four.
It
Essentially,
was my second favourite.
Behind Catching Fire.
Yes.
Yeah. Catching Fire is the best
I
one.
felt
Catching
like
Fire remains my favourite.
the acting was still on par with all the other. If anything,
The
like,
acting's good.
some of the weaker actors from the previous films, like Josh Hutcherson,
Yeah.
whatever his name is, he seemed to pick up his game a little bit, and the directing just seemed to be much more on point with this one. I mean,
We were talking about it, and you remember that scene where I turned to you and went, "It's turned into The Descent." At the same time,
So the
that was
scene in the
really-
sewer.
yeah,
That was my favourite
it
part.
was so
yeah.
good. It
Yeah,
was,
our
and
favourite
really
part
well
as well, yeah.
directed.
yeah, it like the little individual shots that you wouldn't normally get in most copy paste blockbusters, and it just felt like it gave a bit more, not necessarily like stylistic character, but it just felt a bit more open.
There's a
with
bit
it.
more personality to it. Yeah. And it does feel, I mean, it doesn't feel like a Divergent or anything like that. It feels
No,
very
no.
much its own thing, and they do stick to them being their own thing.
I like Divergent being now.
I mean, I think it did. I was quite surprised in that. Well, one of the qualms that everyone had with Skyfall was that the theme was kind of shoved down your throat. And with this, there was definitely the theme was prominent in basically every scene where it's like you're about promotion. It's about promotion. It's about setting the war image. And yet, I didn't feel like it clogged up the film too much. I felt like it managed to have the theme in almost every scene, but it didn't feel forced.
Yeah. One of the things that, because I read a lot of reviews and we were talking about this, a lot of the reviews talked about how it was really grim and dark, and we were talking about, but does it mean grim and dark, or does it mean grim and dark for
a teen film,
a
yeah.
teen film? No!
It
there's
is actually
there's
grim, isn't
some
it?
grim, dark stuff in there. More than just kind of people looking moody and talking about how horrible it is. Like, some genuinely dark stuff happens.
I was genuinely pleased with how dark it went at points, because it basically. Have you read the book, Ben? I know Harrison.
No, I
hasn't.
haven't.
It basically just, for book readers, I would suggest that it basically takes everything bad about the book and then makes it better, and then
Really?
takes everything good in the book and makes it great. It's like people say, it struggled to get a good adaptation. This isn't a good adaptation. This is just an improvement, basically. Because it's just improvement in every way of the book.
And I think it's definitely, even though Catching Fire is still my favourite one, I would say this is the one that the action scene's the best.
I'd say that of all the the scene that we spoke about, the scene that we
In the
liked, the sewers.
Yeah.
I thought the first half of that scene was really quite brilliant. But thinking about it now, the second half where it kind of boils less from the suspense and more
becomes
into
a fight.
into the fight action.
See, I like
felt
that
it was a
bit.
bit too jarring in parts.
It's
Like
a good fight. I don't think it's amazing, but generally the action in the Hunger Games films has never been that amazing, and I would say it's the best that it has been.
I mean, part one
No, I
only
agree.
had
I don't
that
even
bit
talk
where
that.
she fires
What-
an arrow at the ship.
is
and
that
that's
what
about it.
happens? I can't tell what happens in the first one. There's just motion of some kind.
Shaking, all of the shaking.
But yeah, I'd say that this is the strongest that the action has been in the series, but it's still not.
Yeah,
like,
it's still-
not
I
enough
wouldn't
to
call it
class it
amazing.
as. It's not up there with action films. It's like it's just a part of the film as a whole. It's
See,
not,
I'd say and I'd agree with all of those things up until a certain explosion which triggers the final act of the film. Because I feel like from that point on, it does a lot of jumping, it gets very messy, and I didn't really know what was going
See,
on.
I'm interested that you pointed out the jumping, because the first thing that I said to Harrison the moment I came out was that I felt like the editing wasn't great with this film, in that it felt like the way I described it is that it felt like the editor did a first draft of the film where everything was perfectly timed, and then someone came along and said that this is too long for the audience and we
Cut
need
it
to
out.
cut parts.
Because
without cutting out
I don't
stuff,
think
just
they
cutting
didn't,
down.
It just felt like some bits were a bit too rushed, and then other random parts felt a bit too dragged out. Like some bits in the very ending, I agree, is a bit too dragged out, but then some parts they just cut away before it feels like there should be a bit more emotional weight to a scene.
I felt like there was just no real proper conclusion. I
So
mean,
I don't know
not necessarily. Like, I'm looking at the face Harrison's making.
It's just
there
a
is a
confused face more than
conclusion.
anything.
There is a conclusion, but it's not the one they were building towards. They were building towards this big confrontation that it feels kind of like, I can't say the word I want to say, but it feels kind of like half baked, shall I say? Like,
I wouldn't say that.
the way they go about it, I really didn't like it. I wanted this big confrontation with Snow, and we never got it.
I think that I would go so far as to strongly disagree.
Yeah,
with
I
that,
think
is
I'm
that
with Jack
I
here.
felt like a lot.
I
of,
knew this would be a team up.
Sure, maybe the first two films.
You
can even see it.
disagree.
Sure, like the first two films, I would agree. They're basically just like, this is big bad guy. We have to stop big bad guy. Stop big bad guy. He bad. But when it gets to these new films, it focuses less on this one person in particular, and it focuses as the whole social problem of war. And it's less about this one bad guy as this is the person causing every single one of our problems, but it's more about how humans inherently go through this cycle of violence and war, and it's bound to repeat itself.
Leading on from what you said,
#deep.
Leading on from what you said, I think that the way they take Snow is very intentional.
Yeah.
Like, he's not, by the end of it, he isn't the main
He's not a caricature
focus.
villain.
Yeah.
I don't even mean like her just facing off with Snow. I mean just in terms of general breakdowns with the cat, because it feels like it jumps over a huge gap where there would be a lot of confrontation, and it literally cuts straight to. I feel like we're jumping too far into spoiler territory here, and we shouldn't.
Okay,
But at the same time, I had a lot of problems with that ending anyway.
okay. Well, shall we just go to ratings then?
Yeah, let's jump straight to ratings. What about you guys? You guys start, and then I'll.
okay.
I'll become
that you
the
can-
crushing
so that you can
disappointment at the end.
Change your score. Okay.
No!
You want to go first?
Yeah, I'm
table.
actually going to go with a 8 for this. I keep trying to talk myself down to a 7 just so I can be the harsh critic that everyone thinks I am. I did genuinely enjoy it, and it made me like. I thought that I didn't care much for the characters in the first half of this film, like the first half that they sold a year ago. And when it came to moments in this, that it actually, like, I made me care more about characters that I didn't think I can't swear, but I didn't care at all about. And I think it did just everything really well.
Yeah, I'm also going for an 8, mainly to distinguish Catching Fire as a 9. But yeah, it surprised me in that rather than just being like teen dark, it was genuinely dark, and I did think I cared about the characters, and I was surprised that the action was a little bit better than it was before. And if nothing else, even if I didn't think all of those things, that one scene in the sewer, I genuinely really, really, really liked that scene.
Very suspenseful.
Yeah.
Very great.
It actually surprised me. Usually those jump scares and stuff don't get me, but that one really got me. I'm torn somewhere between a 6 and a 7. I'm tempted to go for a 7 just for the sewer scene, but then certain things towards the end, like a lot of the deaths at the end, and a lot of the concluding bits, which I felt like was supposed to have this big weight to them, didn't have any weight. It might have just been because I didn't invest in the series as much as other people did. Like, I really didn't buy into the love triangle.
That's
really
still
didn't-
my problem
I'd
with
say
it.
Yeah.
That's why it's an 8. Yeah.
Yeah.
I really didn't buy into. Like, I really couldn't stand Josh Hutcherson in the film at all. I couldn't understand why he was around. He didn't really. Yeah, he didn't really do anything. If anything, he was actually kind of counterproductive. But
I think this was
I
the
think
first
that-
film I genuinely liked his character.
talking about it, it's winding me up, so I'm going to go for a 6.
Okay.
You're wrong.
You're taking my mantle now. This is the thing. I'm slowly manipulating.
Yeah,
him
I've given more
critic
6s
by
and you've
critic.
given more like 8s this year. It's
Yeah.
kind of weird. Season 2 is really mixing things up.
Someone could do some numerical analysis.
Great. So that
on
was
ratings.
Hunger Games, Catching Fire. 2 people like it. 1 person.
Hunger Games, Mockingjay.
Mockingjay. What did I say?
Catch Fire.
Great review.